A whole intro experience. There you go. Can you hear the music in the background?
Yes.
All right. Hello and welcome everybody. We are live with Synergy Solutions. It is Wednesday, 12 noon, and I have everybody here, and we're doing something a little different today. So hopefully it all works out as far as the stream. So welcome, docs. Thank you for joining in. And we're talking. We talk about healing. We talk about energy, frequency, vibration, and then we go about inputting a force that will facilitate your growth in today's world, wherever that may be. So, Dr. George, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Getting better as the day goes on. Woke up dead tired. And now I'm just tired.
See, you just ascending. There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
Moving forward. It was a weird vibe. I'll tell you what, I had a weird vibe this morning. And for Vesna and Sasha, what you guys are, 5 and 6 hours ahead of us?
6
You're
in
6?
Croatia.
5.
You're 5. And so this would be like,
5 here.
yeah, 5 for you, Sasha. You're in the UK, and Vesna's in
Croatia.
Croatia. Thank you. I don't know why I want to say Czech Republic all the time, but Croatia. And well, so that what we're feeling when we wake up, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you guys are having around lunchtime in the early afternoon. George, you're up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It's a good rhythm. It's a good rhythm. So today we're talking internal and external forces. And what do I mean by that? These are the things inside our body, our thoughts, the food we put in there, the internal chemistry, but also how we're interacting with nature, or interacting with other people, we're interacting with our life environment. And here we are, our body is essentially we're in the middle of it all. There's parts of it that are working automatically. There's parts of it that, of course, we have our conscious thought process about what we want, what we need, what we're striving for, what we value, and then we have to cultivate a life, create a life, so to speak. And situations show up, happenstances occur, and then we have to adapt and overcome and move forward to continue to strive towards the things that we want in life. This has really turned into a personal growth meets healing conversation.
Same thing, really.
George, exactly right. It is kind of the same thing. So I was getting ready for today's show and today's session, and I wanted to, I love analogies. I love the idea of pictures speak 1,000 words, and if a picture speaks 1,000 words, then a video clip speaks millions of words.
Mm.
And here in the United States, there's a huge culture of American football, so a lot of people have context on that. I played football for a number of years of my life, but with Vesna and Sasha, they have different. They're in different parts of the world, and they have different experiences. So I was trying to come up with something. I didn't consider their point of view. So I'm going to show a clip with American football, but we were making an analogy with chess. What else were Vesna, Sasha? What were the other analogies that we were coming up with that demonstrated the chaos of learning about the things that affect the human body, the human health? Do you remember, Sasha? Go ahead, Vesna. What did you say?
The busy tube.
Oh, that's right. The subway, the tube.
Dude, yeah.
The busy motorway.
The busy motorway. That's right. The Autobahn, the fastest road in the world. And imagine driving in the United States. Imagine driving 40 miles an hour, or if you're overseas, 80k an hour, and then the Autobahn, they're driving 2 or 3 times as fast as that. And imagine being on that road the first time, and the chaos and all the things going on. Imagine driving your first car on that road. Yeah. Now, this is how I start to look at an individual who starts to look at their health and what affects them from the inside, what affects them from the outside. It's a chaotic download of information and can be overwhelming. However, having knowledge in those different areas of what that's like, well, it gives personal power, and then you can start to steer your life in better directions. So let me show that video clip I have for everybody, and let me get everyone at home and everyone on the doctors queued up. Here we go. Let's take a look. So this is American football. The offense is going to throw a ball. The defense is actually going to make a huge. Let's back it up. Here it is. Here's the play.
Men on the rush. Keenum throws. He's picked.
Patrick
Robinson back the other way.
Let's back it up one more time. Sorry, everybody. So let's give a little context for anyone who hasn't seen football before, American football before. Is the purple teams on offense end the scene, the green teams and defense. Defense intercepts the ball and then scores. But watch all the chaos. And I participated in this sport. And when the defense does this, it's chaos. And everything's up for grabs, so to speak. And people are getting hit hard and knocked on their backside. And I just imagine driving on the Autobahn, kind of the same way. It's chaos, you're scared, there's fear, there's change. Anyway, let's take a look. Hopefully it loads up.
4 men on the rush. Keenum throws. He's picked. Patrick Robinson back the other way. Looking for a block. Gets it. Robinson for the touchdown.
All right. Now that's like 6-7 seconds long. However, there's tremendous chaos and a lot of action going on. And part of the reason I'm talking about that is because there's cosmic energies that are arriving today, tomorrow, the next day, that are going to cause change. And people are going to be a little bit, there's an opportunity for sudden change and surprises and information. And part of my role as a healer is to help people be resilient and adapt to these changes that are showing up in their life. And this has been something I've seen in my personal practice is people are getting overwhelmed. I'm having wives call me because their husbands are going to the ER for high blood pressure attacks. And people are having upsetness with the news in the world. And people are, having traumas about making changes in their personal life, relationship issues. There's been a lot of that going on over the last year. Mm-hmm. And so with that being said, here we are. I feel my role as a healthcare provider is to help people open up to new possibilities, to shed the skin of the old and learn new ways and adapt and be resilient as they move forward in life. And we're all carving our way, so to speak. And so with that being said, Dr. George, your thoughts on internal and external forces. Maybe you want to comment on something I've said already. That would be nice. And anything else?
Well, yeah, I made a note that, babies come into the world and they're just taking in all kinds of information, a whole bunch of it. So at some point, filters begin to develop, and that can color some of the information coming in. Well, I say information. A force, well, let me go from the textbook here. The function of force. This is Article 326 in the chiropractic textbook, principle number 10. The function of force is to unite intelligence and matter. So when we talk about forces coming into the body, there's always some kind of information with that. And the information is either going to be constructively adapted to or not so much. Some of that is what filters are in there. So we can teach people how to change their filters and maybe perceive this is like, this is not happening to me, it's happening for me. And I think in a powerful way as a chiropractor, we help the automatic stress handling functions work better because it's the nerve system expressing the wishes of the innate intelligence of the body that are going to transmute would-be destructive forces into constructive forces as much as it can. So our body automatically processes most of the stress with less nerve interference from subluxation. But we can also learn strategies.
Dr. George, I want to say that was one of the most rich things I've heard in a long time. That was beautiful, and I encourage everyone to go back about a minute and re-listen to that. But you started with the word information, and then you paused for a second. But I want, because it was perfect, I want to show everyone at home and show you, the audience, the doctors at home, information is at the end or the beginning, however you want to look at this, of the equation of how we experience life. Structure and function. Your body physically moving, your mind working, doing, your day-to-day, growing a family, nurturing a family, growing your business, being at your job, whatever that may be, enjoying life, all those things, that's function. So George, you mentioned information, and that affects how we set our goals, our desires, our dreams, our wishes even. And then we have a change in the vibration. It's like the conversation of, you can feel someone's energy when they're around you. You go to a party, you can tell if it's a dud or not almost as soon as you get there.
Yeah.
We've all been around people when we get lifted. That's that vibration, and of course there's science to this, of course. And so then the human body emits these fields. Some of them are hands-on, palpable. You can feel people's tension in their body when they're nervous, physically feel it. But there's that sixth sense of knowing, like, how do I say, a great a mother, a great partner, a great friend, a great counselor. These people intuitively know when you're not in that right place, and they can sense it. Yeah, it's wonderful. Sasha, your thoughts on this conversation so far?
Well, I think there may be a lot going on around us, but what's important to remember is we are only responsible for our own affairs.
Yes.
Not for those of other people.
Exactly. I think that's right on, because here we are. There's the external forces I'm talking about, which are chaotic. And George, in the chiropractic philosophy, that's universal forces, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So these
forces, yeah. And
these universal forces, well, nonetheless. But then we have our internal forces. This is what Sasha's referring to. And this opens up a lot of conversation, though we have our ability to steer our ship. I'll use that analogy. And so although it's changing all around us, well, focus on creating goodness in yourself. Focus on creating goodness in your life. Focus on how you respond and how you can positively influence somebody else's life just by being you, just by being the good version of you, I imagine. Vesna, would you like to add anything to this at this point?
Just to say that we are obviously affected by invisible forces all the time. And not just external, but also internal, in terms of what we inherit from generations before, in terms of any sort of burdens, emotional or collective, that comes through our ancestors. But the better we deal with these internal forces, the better we are with unexpected external forces that come to us at things that we could never imagine come into our life.
That's exactly right. So thank you so much for stating it the way you did there. It's beautiful. So George, I see you pondering. I see you thinking. You're taking notes. We're going to be shifting gears in a second, talking about our intention for the last component of our weekly session, which is the actual healing and alignment component. Healing and alignment, adjustment, tuning. These are the things that these different words that describe what we're doing. We're essentially allowing you to be a greater version of you with this level of work that we're providing in here in a moment. So if you're enjoying the conversation, please give a thumbs up. Let the algorithms work to our favor and connect other people that are interested in this work. But Dr. George, what were you writing down there? What was insightful for you?
Ancestors, energy, information coming from them. Velikovsky calls that racial memory. The memory of the human race is all in us. And long stories behind that, but isn't it something that we find things that run in families are not usually genetic? They're more experiential, and it can go back many, many generations. When we're adjusting people, you find things 70,000 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some great psychologists, there's a great neurologist that talk about that work and have research around that work and books around that work. So thank you for bringing it up, George. But yeah, to me, that gives us back to the level of information.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, please continue.
Oh, that was it.
Okay, right on. Perfect. All right, so let's shift that gear. I love it, short and sweet. It's perfect. Let's shift the gears. We're going to talk about intentions for our next time. And Sasha, I'm going to have you start because Sasha keeps us grounded on the primary thing that we do. And then Vesna, I'll move to you and ask about your thoughts about any specifics, any requests. And for anyone who's out there watching, if you have a desire, a need for yourself, hold that in your mind, hold that in your heart. And this is what we'll be working with and for as you are connected to this program and when we do the actual healing work. And so anyway, Dr. Sasha, please, what's our primary intention as we do this work, as the providers delivering that? What's our primary intention, Sasha?
Is to just deal with what really. I shall use the biofeedback and just about what needs doing and where I can direct it.
Exactly. So let me reiterate what Sasha's mentioning. We're using a biofeedback technique, and this gives us the information of what to do, when to do it, where to do it, and in what order. And in this instance today, we have 4 practitioners that will be like the mechanics that will do the work on the automobile here, which is you, the being, the human, and then we'll allow it to be tuned. And we're using the guidance that operates your body. Just like your heart beats automatically, your spleen does the spleen when it's time for the spleen to activate, and the liver does the liver stuff when it's time to activate, all in perfect concert. However, things get in the way that interfere or influence the system to be out of balance, incoherent, out of not in alignment. We'll say it that way. Lots of different analogies. And so with our intention, we are facilitating you to be more organized, more aligned, more congruent, more you to function at its best. That means live life in a better way. That's how I see it. And Dr. Vesna, your thoughts about today, your intentions for today.
Okay. My thought is to focus on keeping the peace within, and of course to be open to whatever comes up to work with that.
Right on. So being open to possibilities and things like that. Yeah, love it. Okay. And Dr. George, your thoughts for today?
Well, first thing that popped into my mind is to help people be truth. And I think the word true, like in terms of bicycle wheel, it'll work when the spokes aren't properly tuned and it's out of tune, but it'll work better when it's true. So we want to true people up so they can be their most authentic version of themselves. So we're going to remove interference to that happening.
Yeah, right on. Well, I wrote down a few things before we got started, and Vesna, you perfectly stated one of them, just being open to change, open to possibilities. Dr. George, I wrote down accountability, and to me, when you say truth, well, you're being accountable to yourself. You're being accountable to really recognizing oneself, and that to me just is so beautiful that both you said those things.
Yeah.
And I also wrote down creativity, or basically independent thinking, being creative for solutions. Problems are going to arise, and we need to solve them. So how do we be creative? And that's one of the intentions that I like to put out there for today. Okay, so we're going to continue this stream live at all the places I have it going. If you're getting value with our conversation, I'm going to include today's session out there free to the public. But go to the website, synergysolutions.com, synergysolutionsessions.com. You'll see it scrolling. I might have to change one of the scrolling windows there, excuse me. And or you can go to drkeving.com and you can get access to support us. And so let's continue. We're going to be going and tapping into the quantum world, so to speak. And wherever you are, whatever time you're watching this, just connect. Put your feet on the ground, take a deep breath in and out. Know Have that mindset, what you value, where you want to go forward in your life, what you're willing to get rid of, or willing to recognize to shed the skin of the old and help shift towards the new. And we're going to begin here in just a second. Let each of the doctors get themselves prepared. We all have our unique ways of delivering the care, and you'll see that here in a moment. And just go ahead and connect, and here we go. Thank you, each of the doctors, for being here, and let's go ahead and move forward. Thanks, George.
Square.
George, I got to tell you that when I had the inspiration of the clip of the chaos I wanted to demonstrate, typed in the search, and the first thing that showed up was an Eagles clip, and then the guy who did the interception was number 21. I mean, there's a lot of synchronicities with 3, 6, and 9s, and it was just very enjoyable to have that as my experience.
Nice to see the Eagles doing something good too.
Well, and that was a couple of years old, though.
Was that 17, maybe?
17 or 18. I'll tell you when I look at the clip again. And and then what was even more enjoyable is what the eagle represents, not just the Eagles, the football team.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that? Vesna, Sasha, how you doing over there? Good, thank you.
We had a bald eagle fly over our lean-to when we were camping a couple weeks ago. Right 20 feet over our heads.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks like 2018, George, so
18,
that's what
okay.
it looks like. But Vesna, Sasha, how are you guys doing over there? You got finished working?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Well, for me today, this was there was power, but it was simple. That's what I noticed, at least on my end. And I'll comment on what I found in just a moment. But Vesna, I'm going to start with you. What did you notice? What did you work on today?
First, it was just physical, C3, and then some spiritual aspect came up. And after that, it was processing for a long time. And one more emotion of grief. And I adjusted C1 on the left for that.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sasha, what did you notice today?
I got there was only one adjustment, and it was a right sphenoid, you call it, don't you? I got a right sphenoid. It was for everyone who's tuning in, so that's all I adjusted. There was nothing else to do when I checked.
Very interesting. Very amazing. So for those that are watching, the sphenoid, aka the sphenoid, tomato, essentially has the patterns of emotions. It's the temple bone. Dr. George, thank you for grabbing the model. If you could show everybody, it's the yellow bone in this picture. It forms the temple area. All right, let the guy breathe a little bit. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Right.
That's temple area, but it's tucked away, but also it forms, it's like a keystone for the skull. And it actually, in some of the original understandings of spine mechanics, the sphenoid bone is actually considered one of the spinal bones. It's part of the mechanism. You see the purple bone and the yellow bone, they interact together. They have a joint between them. And so when the purple bone moves or changes, so does the yellow bone and the red bones. And that is all a grand balancing act on top of the spine. And we're talking energetics, but when we have an influence on that sphenoid bone, it allows all the physiology to be addressed. And then you get greater range of motion in the jaw. Perfect. You can speak more clearly. Not such an emotional upset. It's so much wonderful things to go along with it. So thank you for that. They'll be having some fun there. And it's very intriguing, Sasha, that's what you found. And again, it was simple. It was quick. That's what you noted. Vesna, you had 3 things. I just love how the synchronicity goes. And Dr. George, what did you notice today?
Again, well, yeah, pretty simple. 6 hollow organs, 1 solid organ. A very precise atlas adjustment today. I was homing in on it. It was like a little tiny spiraling laser light, kind of directed it just off center to the left. But interesting about the sphenoid, I saw a lady today who we cleared her skull like a long time ago, but today the sphenoid showed up on the right side. So had to make that adjustment as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I have to tell you, because I wrote this down, because this is the most specific I've had in a recent event, but it was C1.
Mm-hmm.
And mine was right posterior, nonetheless, counterclockwise torque. It's like we were fine tuning that area where the rest of the body meets the skull, and that entrance between top and bottom.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Exactly.
Right there, and there's a sphenoid right next to it. So
yeah. So when we talk about the first bone in the spine, it's like a O-ring. It's a little thicker, like maybe the thickness of my finger. And George, if you got a C1 laying around over there.
Yeah, one sit around or something. Top view, so the skull sits up here.
Let me zoom in on you, George, and pull it up so everybody can see it a little better. There you go. You have the full view there. So we're looking at the first 2 bones. A lot. Those green wires that come with it, or is that you putting it together?
No, that's me being crafty a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's another version. There's the front view. There's the skull rocking on the atlas. There's the axis spinning. Atlas spinning on the axis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the brain
beautiful.
lives in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so critical, so important. And for those of you wondering, how can what we're doing here over internet world at a distance from where you are in the world have an impact on that area of your physical anatomy? I offer you this little story, a case study, if you will. Yesterday, in fact, I was working with a patient. I had them, I test a bone and I test a muscle. There's a way for me to see using biofeedback if an area needs attention or not. And I went through the process, I did the work, and we cleared the pattern that was at that C1. And then I had them think of something that was stressing them. And then I had them, and we tested C1 again, and it went out. The thought, just like body language when we get bad news, or body language when we get exciting news, the thought caused an area to go out of whack. And so there's a number of techniques that I use to help with the emotional state around the topic this person thought about. And then we tested C1 again after that work, and it was clear. It didn't get out of whack. It stayed in whack.
Yeah.
Have some fun with that wackiness. However, so now my job next time is to challenge this person again with the same stress, the same thought pattern, and see if it throws it out of whack again. Or if not, did we resolve the intensity around that experience emotionally? If yes, then we're in a great place. No, then we still have more work to do. That's all. And so here we can influence, and I'll pull up that image one more time, and then we'll wrap it up for today. And this is the image I love to share. There it is. We affected the information and intention levels of that individual in my story, which affected everything else downstream or upstream, depending on how you're looking at the chart. And so the same is true with what we're offering here and what we're doing here. We're working at the intention and information and subtle energy levels, which have an impact on you directly and down the stream. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank all doctors for being here. Quite a delight. Thank you for your input, your influence, your conversation, your contributions. And it's been another successful Synergy Solutions. We'll see you next Wednesday, 12 noon. And go to synergysolutionsessions.com or drkeving.com. Get access, support the program, share it around. I put the affiliate link in there. So for those of you that are looking to get some of the care covered, to get access to the inner circle area where we're doing some additional things, access that, share it around, get more people connected, and that way we can all grow together and have more influence together. Blessings and best regards, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye. Have a blessed day.
Bye.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Kevin Jamita. This is the first introductory video in becoming your own healer. first part of feeling energy is the knowledge base. Second part is learning to attune your body to sensing how to